Command Point is running a Kill Team Grand Tournament July 12th and 13th at Millennium Games in Rochester, New York. This will be a 32-player, 5-round Kill Team event. You can find out more information and buy tickets at the link below. Command Point is sponsored by Crossfire Games. Use code CommandPoint25 at checkout to get 5% off your next purchase. Link in the description. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Command Point. My name's Ryan, and today I'm here with Shane.
Hello.
And today we are going to be taking a look at the new Raveners Kill Team from the new Kill Team Typhon box, which should be coming out, I believe, 2 weeks from today. Very exciting stuff. Both these teams look super cool and unique in the Kill Team verse, I guess. So Shane, I'm just going to go ahead and get right into it with the Raveners Kill Team operatives. You have to take a Ravener Prime, and then you take 4 other Raveners selected from the following list: the Fell Talon, the Tremor Scythe, the Venom Spitter, Warrior, or Wrecker. Obviously, other than the Warrior operatives, you can only include each operative above once. And then archetypes for this team are Infiltration and Seek and Destroy. So both these teams can take Infiltration. Right now, I'm not taking any Infiltration. I'm sorry, it's just not happening.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, I think you're probably I you can overrun, certainly.
Yep.
It's actually this team's probably awesome at overrun because
Oh,
if
oh yeah.
you I guess well, I don't know. I guess if you're in the we'll get into the rules later, but
Yeah.
like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you're underground, you're not really on their side of the board. But, Storm Objective, that's a thing. Champion, they're actually probably a pretty good champion team. Um I don't know. You're probably going to be pigeonholed into seek and destroy, but
Yeah.
maybe you can go surveillance sometimes with this team. I don't know.
All right.
Yeah. So I mean, let's talk about the faction rules. So the tunnel, the
Yes.
burrow.
Yeah. Well, Tunnel and Burrow are. So which do you want to start with? I guess let's
I
start with
guess
Tunnel.
yeah, we should probably talk about the tunnel. Um, so all right, basically you at the start of the setup operative, or sorry, rather at the end of the setup operative step. So after deployment, you put your first tunnel that is marked 0 on the kill zone floor. It's got to be touching your kill zone edge. So it's at the very back of your deployment zone, basically. And then as a gambit, in every strategy phase thereafter, you put the next numbered tunnel down on the kill zone floor, wholly within 5 inches of the preceding number. And then as the game goes on, you're going to have a tunnel that gets longer and longer, and you'll eventually have 5 tunnel markers. And so, I mean, it's going to stretch out basically 25 inches by the end of the game from the back of your drop zone. But that's by turn 4. So, I mean, by turn 4, you can get pretty far. Um, and then the area between each sequentially numbered marker is your tunnel. And like it's kind of self-explanatory. There's a little picture that will show that is from the rule book that kind of like makes it make sense in regards to when you're on your tunnel, because there's almost everything about this team like clicks with you get certain things if you're on the tunnel or if you're
Within.
within, yeah, basically.
Yeah.
And then that's where the burrow ability comes into play. Ryan, do you want to do that one?
Yeah, so with Burrow, when setting up a Ravener kill team before the battle, your first 2 operatives must be set up as normal. Each other friendly Ravener operative thereafter can be set up underground. Place it to one side instead of in the kill zone. In the firefight phase, friendly Ravener operatives set up underground are activated and can counteract as normal. Whenever a friendly Ravener operative is underground, it cannot perform any actions other than burrow, At the end of the battle, each friendly Ravener operative that's underground is incapacitated. So the Burrow action, it's 1 AP. If this operative is underground, set it up on your tunnel in a location it can be placed. It's no longer underground and it can be set up within control range of enemy operatives. Until the end of the activation slash counter action, subtract 2 inches from its move stat. Alternatively, instead of resolving the above effect, if this operative is in the kill zone and on your tunnel, remove it from the kill zone. It's now underground. An operative cannot perform this action while carrying a marker. Yeah.
But I mean, like once the tunnel gets like long enough, the mobility you get from burrowing out of ground, I guess, is
Yeah.
kind of crazy because
Yeah, it's
you can just
insane.
be in a very large area at once, like threatening a very large area.
Hmm.
So pretty good. And then Ryan, there's predatory instincts, which is kind of their version of the Astartes. Um, basically they can fight twice. They can't shoot twice like Marines, but they can fight twice. And also, and this one's really good, this part, they can counteract regardless of order like Marines, but whenever it does, you can first change its order or use the whole counteract just to change the order. Um, and during that counteraction, if it doesn't perform a mission action, it can perform a free burrow action. So that's crazy because if a model's underground and it counteracts, it can pop out of ground and then fight you. So,
Yeah.
or say it's already in engagement range with multiple guys, you can fight one of them, kill them, and then burrow back underground with your counteract. So just because like Burrow notably does not care if you're in engagement range.
Yeah.
Um, so that's pretty wild. And like just being able to change your order before you counteract, like this team does have a long range gun and the ability to flip your order to engage and then make a shot long range. Pretty powerful.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's
Uh,
almost like a poor man's guard.
yes. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Going into the strategy plays here. Actually, do we want to look at the strategy plays or do we want to take a look at the data sheets?
Let's look at the data sheets just because there's not a lot of them.
Yeah. All right. So the
Because yeah.
Ravener Prime, uh, 3 APL, 7-inch move, 5 up save, 21 wounds. For range, it has the tail blade. So 4 attacks on 3s, damage 3, 4, range 3 inches, rending and silent. It has for melee scything talons and rending claws, 5 attacks on 3s, 4, 5 rending. It has neuropredatory crest. So whenever determining control of a marker, treat the total APL stat of enemy operatives that contest it as one lower if at least one of those enemy operatives is within 3 inches of this operative. Note this isn't a change to the APL stat, so any changes are cumulative with this. Whenever an enemy operative is within 3 inches of this operative, your opponent must spend 1 additional AP for that enemy operative to perform the pickup marker and mission actions. Your opponent cannot reroll their attack or defense dice for that operative. We also have Synaptic Link. It's a strategic gambit. If this operative isn't incapacitated, roll 1d6 and compare the result to the number of the current turning point. If the result is higher, you gain a CP. If it's equal, nothing happens. And if it's less, inflict damage on this operative equal to the result.
So first of all, the melee is good. The shooting is fine. It's silent. So like honestly, anything that's silent is just it can be as crappy as it wants, and it's still gonna get used sometimes. Um, but man, just first of all, I just want to talk about the neuropredatory crest. The fact that he like you just can't reroll within 3 inches of him
It's crazy.
is nuts. Because
Yeah.
I mean, come on, this guy has 21 wounds. There's only so much margin for error when you're trying to kill this guy. So, especially in melee, I mean, that's just insanity. But you can't reroll at all. That's really good. And then that synaptic link, I think you just always do it. like, first of all, you're going to get it on turn 1
Yeah.
probably, unless you roll 1. But mathematically, you'll get 2 CP in the first 2 turns. Turn 3, it becomes like a coin flip. And then turn 4, it's what the worst that can happen is you take 3 damage on turn 4.
Yeah.
So, um, and like spoiler alert, this team has a ability and equipment where you heal when you activate D3.
Yep.
So the chip damage won't really matter most of the time. Um, and you'll usually just end up getting 1 to 2 CP out of this per game at least.
Yeah.
So that's fantastic because this team, we'll get to the ploys later. The ploys are very good.
All right, Shane, do you want to talk about the Fell Talon?
Yeah. So, I mean, 20 wounds. Otherwise it's the same as the leader, just 1 less wound in terms of the profile. The pincer tail, it's the same shooting attack as the leader, but it doesn't have rending. Um, the toxic glance is another shooting attack that is unique to the fell talon. It's 6-inch range, 4 and 3s, 3/4 silent poison, and this is I'll just say it's the same poison that plague marines have,
Mm-hmm.
same exact rule. And then the melee is 5 on 3s, 4/5 lethal 5 shock poison. Um, so pretty good there. And then it's got the toxic lunge ability. You select 1 enemy operative within 2 inches of this operative. Alternatively, if he's underground, you just select anybody on the tunnel and you just do D3 plus 2 to them, and it gains a poison token.
Oh,
So, and it cannot do this action while underground. So, you can't be like, well, actually,
oh no, it says this operative can perform this action
oh,
while
can.
underground. This takes precedence over the normal burrow rules.
I don't know why that's there because it already says that the first thing. And like usually the red bullet is for like restrictions and that
Yeah.
just says you can do it. Anyway, um so this guy's good. I don't see why you wouldn't take him. Um I mean, he's got a 6-inch range silent shooting. The poison is a really strong ability as we know from playing Plague Marines. The toxic lunge is excellent chip damage. D3 plus 2 is not insignificant. Um like just the fact that he can charge and depending on what you're fighting against, charge and then toxic lunge to do D3 plus 2 and then fight. Um, Against anything short of like a marine, like anything with less than like if it has 12 wounds or less, you just toxic lunge because you're probably gonna because you're doing minimum 3 damage and maximum 5.
Yeah.
So against like a Phobos, for instance, you bring him down to 9 wounds at least, and then you just need a crit net to kill them. And that's just better than fighting twice. You're gonna take less damage this way. But if they have more than 12 wounds, you probably have to double fight, or you just like hurt them and because the other thing is you give them a poison token, so like maybe you just poison them and then chill out.
Yeah.
um, yeah, I this guy's pretty good.
Moving on to the Venom Spitter here. It's armed with a pincer tail, 4 on 3s, 3/4 range 3 silent. The Venom Bolt has 2 different profiles. There's the Blast, 4 attacks on 3s, 3/5 range 8, blast 2 poison. The Focus profile is 4 on 3s, 4/5 range 8, piercing 1 poison, and it's armed with Scything Talons, 5 attacks on 3s, damage 4/5. The poison is the same as the other operatives on this team. For 1 AP, it can distend dorsal sac. So until this operative has shot with its Venom Bolt, or until it performs the Burrow action, whichever comes first, all profiles of its Venom Bolt have the lethal 5-up weapon rule, have 1 added to their attack stat, and the range 8 inches weapon rule is removed. So you're getting for 1 AP, an infinite range lethal 5-up shooting attack, whether it be the blast or the focus profile.
Yeah, really good. Um, I mean, you just sort of like get a really good long range weapon. I mean, 5 attacks on 3s, 4/5 piercing 1 lethal 5 is just brutal and or blast, and then you
Yeah.
get that's just fantastic. And you distend dorsal sac, and as long as you don't go underground, uh, which this is probably the one guy that you don't really want going underground that often.
Yeah.
As long as you don't go underground, the next time when you get to shoot that gun, it could be 2 turns from now, you're gonna get the good version of it.
Yeah.
So, um, yeah, I mean that's pretty sweet. That's a really good weapon, and we kind of glossed over it, but I guess we didn't really gloss over it, but we didn't talk about it much. But you have to set up 2 of your operatives not underground when you deploy,
Yep.
and I think the Venom Spitter is a very easy candidate just because on turn 1, like, ideally, your thought is you're probably just going to like move him somewhere near like your home objective and then do the dorsal sac thing, and then he is kind of threatening the board because once he can counteract, you'll have the option with him to flip to engage and then shoot,
Right.
and that's pretty good. And if you have him on the tunnel also by any chance, you can flip to engage, shoot, and then burrow underground on a counteract, which is just crazy. Like, what do you even do against that?
Yeah.
So I think this guy, for the fact that he has a very good shooting attack, I think he's just an auto take, in my opinion.
Next up here, I have the Ravener Warrior. So Pincer Tail and Scything Talons. It has the instinctive behavior ability. Whenever this operative is shooting against, fighting against, or retaliating against a wounded enemy operative or an enemy operative that performed the fallback action during this turning point, its weapons gain lethal 5.
Yeah, this doesn't do anything for me, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, so one of these guys are gonna have to get dropped. I don't think you take a warrior.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like for instance, like the next guy that we haven't talked about yet, you're never gonna drop him. So we'll just get that out of the way. But like first, most things in the game, if they're wounded already, there's no Ravener that's struggling to kill it with
Right.
just their base profile.
Yeah.
And then you compare it to like the Fell Talon, for instance, who has lethal 5 and melee built in, and there's another guy that does not, but he's got really cool stuff. The other 2 guys that we need to talk about
Yeah.
are just like really, really sick. And I don't think you give up your only long range shooting to have a guy with the same melee but situational lethal 5
Yes.
and
Yeah.
much, much worse shooting. So
Yep.
yeah, I don't think we take this guy.
All right. So do you want to talk about the Wrecker now, Shane?
Yes, the Wrecker. So 20 wounds. He's got a bone mace. This is his shooting attack, actually. 3-inch range, 4 on 3s, 3/4, piercing 1, silent. So I mean, he's got a big old tail. I don't know what's going on, but and then the melee is scything talons and crushing claws. I mean, this guy's kind of like a what are those guys called? The hive guard.
Oh yes. The
That's what this guy's
yeah.
like.
Hive Guard, Tyrant Guard,
Um,
whatever they are.
Tyrant guard, yeah. Um, so 5 on 3s, 4/5 with the crush rule. The crush rule, um, whenever you strike, you and your opponent roll off, adding 1 to the result if the weapon is being used against an enemy that has a wound set of 9 or less.
Ooh.
If you win the roll off, inflict additional damage on that operative equal to the difference between the dice results to a maximum of 3 additional damage. So this thing, if anything that you're getting the +1 against is something outside of a 9 wound operative, um, is something that you can one shot theoretically because of this crush roll. Like you can one shot an elf
Yeah.
if you roll like a 6 and they don't get like a 4. Um, or if they don't get a 5, I guess. I mean, that's a very strong roll. And then on top of that, he has the reinforced carapace, so normal and critical damage are 4 or more, inflicts 1 less damage on this operative.
Ugh.
So this guy is so beefy.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got 20 wounds, but I mean, like, like the baseline weapon is like 4/5, right? So that kind of weapon takes like at best 4 normal crits to kill a 20 win model. 4 normal crits, 4 crits. And against this guy, that's only going to do 16 damage. So you would need 5 crits to kill this guy with like a chainsword, which is insane to think about. And like normals, like reducing that to 3 damage. You'll need 7 hits. I mean, this is a really tanky operative.
Yeah.
And he's got a 4-up save, which I glossed over. The other guys have 5-up saves. So this guy's
Oh,
just very,
yeah.
very tanky, very good melee model. He's got a piercing bolt gun that's 3-inch range that's silent. Yeah, auto take for sure. And then Ryan, all we have left is the trimmer scythe.
Yes. This is the one
Who
with
is it?
the weird antenna. Oh my god, you saved the Yu-Gi-Oh card for me, dude. Look at all this text.
Yeah.
So it's got the pincer tail and it's got the scything talons. It has 2 abilities. One is subterranean ambush. Once per turning point after an enemy operative performs an action in which it moves more than 2 inches and ends within 2 inches of your tunnel, if this operative is underground and is either ready or hasn't counteracted during this turning point, you can interrupt that enemy operative's activation/counteraction to use this rule. If you do, activate or counteract with this operative as appropriate, but during its activation/counteraction, it must fight against or shoot against that enemy operative and cannot do so against any other enemy operatives until it does. If this is impossible, this operative's activation/counteraction is canceled, and this rule hasn't been used. After completing this operative's activation/counteraction, continue that enemy operative's activation/counteraction if possible. So, too long didn't read. Enemy operative performs an action in which it moves more than 2 inches and ends within 2 inches of the tunnel. This guy can pop up and just jump him, right?
Yeah, you just
Or you just
basically,
you do a full activation.
yeah.
Oh my god.
Um, yeah, I mean you kind of just like this is so strong in my opinion. It's crazy
Yeah.
because you can it almost doesn't matter if you lose initiative because like let's say you have a guy in heavy cover that's like on your tunnel um and the enemy wins initiative, like the only way they're going to hit that guy is by running up on that dude that's on the tunnel, which means they probably have to be within 2 inches of the tunnel, and which means you basically just interrupt the activation, kill that guy, and then that guy has gone. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's it's pretty wild.
Yeah, it's a sick ability. Its other ability is Hypersensory Hunter. This operative can perform the charge action while it has a conceal order if it performed the burrow action during the same activation/counter action.
Yeah, so if he pops up
Sick.
basically and
Yeah.
pops up and charges.
Yeah. This guy's cool. Um,
Yeah, really good.
yeah. You really got to be careful with how you use the tunnel. Um, you do get a lot of real estate with that tunnel. Um, especially like late game, but yeah, no, I mean, sick model. You definitely don't drop this guy for a warrior.
Yeah, I don't think you drop any of these guys for a warrior. Like just the sheer like disruption that you get from taking the tremor scythe is very good.
Yeah.
And then the fell talon is just a better warrior.
Yep.
Uh, and the wrecker is a beast, and the venom spitter is your best shooting. So I
Yeah.
think this is like one. I really don't think you ever take the warrior. I think it's very bad.
No. Yeah. Um. All right. So let's go ahead now and take a look at the strategic ploys. I'll start us off here, Shane, with Whipcord Emergence. So whenever a operative is shooting a friendly Ravener operative, if that friendly operative has performed the burrow action during that turning point, you can reroll one of your defense dice. If that friendly operative is on your tunnel, you can reroll any of your defense dice.
I
It's all
mean, with
right.
a 5-up save, that's kind of needed.
Yes, yeah.
Otherwise, you're just going to get mauled by bolt gun shots.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Next up, Shane, we have Death from Below.
Yeah, so basically whenever you're fighting, so notably not retaliating, just fighting. If you perform the burrow action during that activation or counteraction, you get balanced. Or if you're on your tunnel, actually, notably, it's not one or the other. These are just both the case. And if you're on your tunnel, you get ceaseless. So actually, if you burrow out and fight on the tunnel, you'll have balanced and ceaseless, I guess. That's really
Yeah,
good. That's almost relentless.
looks like it.
Yeah, this is like I don't know if that's on purpose. It's kind of like the problem with the Angels of Death Dueler, where it's like, do you get both? Because it
Right.
doesn't say you don't, but I feel like you shouldn't. But
Yeah.
all right, yeah, that's great.
We have Writhe Out of Sight. Select one friendly operative. That friendly operative can immediately perform a free burrow action. If it's within 2 inches of your tunnel, it can immediately perform a free fallback or reposition action before it does so. So this is a strategy ploy. So I really like the timing on this.
Yeah, it's you can definitely like. And what's nice too is the tunnel extends in the strategy phase. So
Yeah.
you can extend your so like let's say you lose initiative and your opponent takes initiative and they have like a guy with a big scary gun, you can then extend your tunnel towards that guy with your tunnel ability and then pay a CP for ride out of sight to pop a guy out into that scary gun's control range, and maybe you just ruin their whole first activation
Oh,
plan.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Mm-hmm. Next is Tunnel Lurkers.
Yeah, so basically if you're on your tunnel, you're in cover. It's like light cover effectively, unless the enemy is within 2 inches of the guy. Um, so this is kind of cool because, like, I guess off the top of my head, it kind of is. You can just have a guy out in the open
Mm-hmm.
on conceal, and you're not a valid target because you're in cover as long as you're on the tunnel. Um, which is kind of interesting, and there that definitely like creates some pretty cool spots on like ITD where like maybe you don't need to barricade in a certain spot because you're gonna have
Oh,
the tunnel.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was my first thought. And then also on top of that, like you sort of kind of um you can do some cool stuff with the gun guy, the Venom Spitter, because you can have him on ITD on conceal, standing on the tunnel in like a big room.
Mm-hmm.
And when if he ever gets a chance to shoot, he can flip to engage, shoot, and then burrow underground. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
And up until that point, he's not going to be a valid target. Uh, so Ryan, do you want to get into one of these firefight ploys now?
Yes. So let's look at Slithering Evasion. Use this firefight ploy during a friendly Ravener operative's action or counteraction. During that activation counteraction, that operative can perform the fallback action for 1 less AP, perform the charge action while within control range of an enemy operative, and can leave that operative's control range to do so, but then normal requirements for that move apply.
Yeah, I
Yeah, I
mean,
guess it's all right.
it's very niche because
Yeah,
this team can like if they're on the tunnel in engagement range, you could just go underground for 1 AP.
right.
So it's like the situations where you actually want to do a fallback action and you also want to do two other actions. It as opposed to just like fighting
Mm-hmm.
to kill the thing you're in engagement with and then activating with 2 AP and not spending any CP. So I mean, this is obviously it's nice to have. but I can see this not getting used very often. Honestly, the second bullet I think is more useful if like you are
Oh
if
yeah.
you're locked up in melee and there's like a cluster of guys that are like really high value targets back there and you want to double fight two of them and you don't want to deal with the guy you're currently fighting, you can just like run over there
Yep.
because you do have a 9-inch charge. So yeah, and another thing too, you have 40 mil bases on these fellas. So 40 mil bases with the ability to double fight with a 9-inch charge. I mean, you can get onto quite a few dudes and get the double fights off that you want to.
Mm-hmm.
What do we got next for firefight plays?
Subterranean horror.
So subterranean horror. Use this when an enemy operative is performing the fight action and selects a friendly Ravener operative on your tunnel to fight against. In the resolve attack dice step of that sequence, you resolve the first attack dice. So that's huge. That's
Oh
like
my god, yeah.
I don't know how melee teams can beat this team because of this one ability. Because I mean, think about that. You're like you just kind of have to like if you're playing Felgor or something, you just have to punt a model before you can normally fight,
Yeah.
and that feels awful. So if you don't have ways to shoot these guys, you're gonna have a really bad time. Just off of this alone. I mean, I've played some other teams that have these rules, like Kroot and Mandrakes, and it's
Mm-hmm.
strong. It's game warping
Yeah.
the way that it feels. You get to play very different, and those guys die a lot easier than Raveners do. So
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know.
Uh, Here we have Burrowing Strike. So use this firefight ploy when a friendly operative performs the burrow action before that operative is removed from the kill zone or after setting it up on your tunnel. Inflict D3 plus 1 damage on each enemy operative within its control range. You cannot use this ploy in the strategy phase or during a Fell Talon operative's activation, or counteraction if it performs the Toxic Lunge action and vice versa.
Yeah, chip damage is nice. I mean, the fact that it's each enemy operative in the control range is kind of crazy because if you get that big charge off on multiple guys, let's say you get like a charge on like 3 guys, which
Yeah.
is it's gonna happen. You pay CP and you do D3 plus 1 to all of them. It doesn't cost an action to do so. I guess it's not off a charge. This is when you come out of the tunnel,
When
but
you
like
when
same
you do
idea.
a burrow action, yeah.
Yeah, and when you pop out of the ground, fight twice. Um,
Yeah.
that's really good.
Yeah. It's sweet.
And
Um
unlike Toxic Lunge from the
mhm.
Fell Talon, this doesn't, not being in action is pretty significant.
Yeah.
So even that model is going to want to use this sometimes if it opens up.
Uh
And then there's Death
Lastly,
Frenzy.
yep.
Yeah, so use this when a Ravener operative is incapacitated. Before it's removed, inflict D3 damage on each enemy operative within its control range. And if it's the Venom Spitter with its Distend dorsal sac active, 2d3.
Oh,
So yeah, I mean, I've found that like playing Goremongers a little bit, that the explode on death ploys are very strong. I mean, it's if you're fighting a Ravener, there's a good chance you're going to take like a lot of damage back
yeah.
in the process, and then like if you have a couple wounds left, they might just blow up and kill you anyway. So again, that's another way that melee is scary, and it's every enemy operative. It's not usually these abilities are like pick one. This is every enemy operative
Yeah.
when it's control range. So woof, really good, really really good.
All right. So, I'm going to take a look at their faction equipment now. I'm going to start with the uh chromatospore camouflage.
Yeah.
Whenever an operative is shooting a friendly operative, if you retain any cover saves, you can retain one additional cover save. This isn't cumulative with improved cover saves from Vantage Terrain. Um, Auto take, Shane?
I don't know about auto take because some teams won't be shooting you, but like
I
this,
guess against shooting teams, I should specify.
yeah, I mean this is pretty decent. Um, in theory, works really well if you're pairing it with the ploy where you get cover from the tunnel.
Right. Yep.
Because if you're on the tunnel, as long as they're not within 2 inches of you,
Yeah, you're getting that light
um,
cover. So,
yeah, getting a double cover save, which is humongous with a 5-up save.
yep.
My only pause is that a lot of the time when you're getting shot with these guys, they're within 2 inches of you, so you're not getting cover, just
Hmm.
because they can do a lot on conceal. Like you have a guy that can charge a conceal. Any of your guys can burrow out into control range on conceal and fight.
Hmm.
Um, there's only a handful of times when you're going to need to go on engage. Um, I mean, not just a handful, but like need to be on engage and you'll be in cover, I guess. So I think it is good, but it'll, you got to be careful with it, I guess.
Yeah. Yo, the Ravener Prime is such a crazy model. Just because of that with the distend dorsal or whatever it is. Um, where you're where it, enemy models just don't get to reroll their dice against you if you're within 3.
Oh,
It's like,
the neuro predatory crest.
yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like, what do you do against that?
It's
Because
pretty
if
crazy.
it's on conceal and it's in cover, you have to be within 2 of it. If you're not within 2 of it, then you can't shoot it. But if you are within 2, you're within 3, and you can't reroll any of your dice. It's like, oh my god, you just gotta
Yeah.
hope you get lucky.
Yeah. Yeah, really. I'll do acid blood.
Yeah.
Whenever friendly Ravener operative is fighting or retaliating, whenever an attack dice inflicts damage on it, roll 1d6 on a 5-up, inflict 1 damage on the enemy operative in that sequence. A 5-up doesn't sound good, but when you factor in the amount of times they'll have to hit you in melee to kill you,
Yeah.
you're going to do some chip damage. And this team already is really scary to melee. So, I mean, maybe this isn't worth it, but I think there are
Yeah.
some things where, like, you're just doing so much damage, residual damage from like, you're doing D3 when you come out of the tunnel, or like you're doing poison damage. And then like they hit you and they might take a damage, and like they might pause on that, right? So I don't know. I think Acid Blood is into melee teams probably worth it because they don't have any other option. So they're just gonna have to eat
Yeah.
this sometimes.
Hmm. Here we have Metamorphic Flesh. So whenever a friendly Ravener operative is activated, it regains D3 lost wounds.
Auto take.
Love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Staple it.
Holy smokes,
Staple it.
yeah. Really good. When you got 20 health, you're gonna be healing a lot.
My God.
Heightened senses. Once per battle, when rolling off to decide initiative, if a friendly Ravener operative is underground and an enemy operative is within 5 inches of your tunnel, you can re-roll your dice. Yeah, I mean that's
Yeah.
good. It's This team has so many ways to mitigate losing initiative that layered with being able to once a game re-roll it and maybe just get it. Um, yeah, really strong.
Yeah.
I think you usually will take that. You'll always take the metamorphic flesh. Against melee teams, take acid blood. Against, super shooty teams, maybe you take the camouflage.
Hmm.
Um, and then I think it's funny. I just want to highlight this. The designer's note. At first, it may seem strange for this faction to use universal equipment, but narratively, every faction has their own version. Imagine spore-releasing organisms as smoke grenades, fleshy
Yeah.
tendrils as ladders, and thick chitin as barricades. So I'm going to tell my opponent that I'm taking spore-releasing organisms during my games with
Okay.
this team.
Don't actually do that. Because what the hell are you talking
It's in the
about?
book. It's in the book, dude. Read the book.
Yeah. It's the same reason why there's no more plasma nades for Eldari.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's goofy. Um, yeah, Shane.
I
So,
yeah.
what do you think of this team overall?
It's I they are on paper crazy. They're kind of bonkers. And they have to be because there's only 5 of them ultimately.
Yeah.
So while I read all of this and I just keep going, "Oh my god, holy moly, what in the world?" I have to remind myself that maybe it doesn't matter because there's only 5 of them. Like, maybe none of this matters. Maybe it doesn't they can be as strong as you want, and 5 guys just isn't enough. I don't know if that's the case. It's gonna take some games for me to, like, come to that conclusion. I keep reading the rules, and I just keep thinking they're really correct,
Mhm.
um, and maybe they are. At least for melee teams, I think melee teams are gonna have a really hard time against these guys.
Mhm.
I think it's just straight up, like, what do you do? Like, I don't know. It's
Okay.
I'm curious to see. I think the teams with really efficient shooting are gonna be the ones that have the best answers to these teams or these bugs. Uh, because I don't think meleeing them is really a truly viable strategy most of the time.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't think chipping them down is particularly great either because they heal.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe they just are. Maybe the answers they have in their kit are enough to just be like a top tier. But I don't know. They look really good to me.
Yeah. So how do you see, I guess, using the tunnel? What's the proper way to use the tunnel when you're running this team?
So I think you gear the tunnel in the direction of the center objective, the midline objective, and because if you don't do that, you're just going to get bodied on crit op. So I think you have to do that. You're probably still losing on crit op, at least in the early half of the game.
Yeah.
But you at least you threaten the middle enough to make your opponent think twice, and like you'll lose on crit op on turn 2, but you'll punish them for it. And other than that, beyond turn 2, then I think you start turning the tunnel towards your opponent's objective,
Mhm.
and you just try to like be as flexible as you can. That's one viewpoint. You could also try to start the tunnel near your home objective and then move it from your home objective to the middle objective instead of going to the middle to your opponents. I think it kind of depends on the crit up. Uh, it's gonna feel awful playing like loot or something with this team where you have to, or you don't have to, but you feel obligated to leave a bug back.
Yeah.
Um, just like you don't really want to have to do that when you only have 5 guys. And like I think the right play might just be to lose initiative or lose crit op early game,
Yeah.
and try to win it in the second half of the
I was
game
just
and
gonna
just
say,
like
yeah, just send the house at him.
yeah. So I mean that's how I view the tunnel is like you can use it really aggressively or you can use it like more to just like cover the middle and back objectives. It's you can't really do both. Maybe you can. Maybe I'm underestimating how far it goes. I haven't gotten the team on the table yet, so
Right.
um, maybe that distance is enough. But starting from the back means that it's going to be kind of hard. It depends on some boards the home objective is closer, so I don't know.
Yeah. I think the oh yeah. Yeah, on the long edge deployments. Yeah, the tunnel can be a lot. That can be crazy.
Yeah,
What was I gonna say? Um, yeah. So for what was the tack up that you were talking about? Overrun.
yeah,
Um,
overrun, getting into their half and getting kills.
yeah. I think that's
I can
where.
see that working. Yeah,
Yeah. So the thing is, while you're underground, you're not considered to be in the kill zone, right?
right.
So like for
Yeah,
overrun, you have to be in the kill zone.
you have to be on their half, so
Okay.
it's not actually that intuitive. I think honestly, like Storm Objectives is really good because like the way to beat Raveners in theory is you exploit the fact that they only have 5 guys and you try to win crit up. So you move on in the middle,
Yeah.
and then ideally the Ravener player can pop up and take the middle on the last activation of turn 2 and get Storm Objectives, and then on turn 3 and 4 your tunnel is moved up enough where you can you know, start storming their back objective.
Right.
I think that works. I mean, surveillance might work. I don't know. It's Tac ops are going to be gross. The seek and destroy infiltration combination is not fun.
Cursed, yeah. Yeah. As many Night Lords players will tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, all right, guys. I think that about does it for our Ravener's Kill Team review here. Thank you all so much for tuning in and watching and listening on whatever podcast app you're using. Guys, if you haven't already, to make sure to hit that subscribe button. That way you don't miss out on any of our future upcoming Kill Team content. Special shout out to all of our supporters over on Patreon for helping us out and keeping these videos coming. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you all again in the next one.